Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast, a podcast carefully designed to introduce a wide range of very talented and highly skilled professionals ready to share their knowledge and advice with you. Please welcome the host of I Got a Guy podcast, Michael Drelichars.
Hello and welcome to I Got a Guy podcast. I am your host, Michael Drelichars. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate the attention. Got some great subscribers. Been a lot of sharing of our past episodes with lots of folks. So we really appreciate that, and we know we're delivering some really good information from some really amazing guests. And fortunately, this week is no different. If you're new to I Got a Guy podcast and you want to listen to any past episodes, I encourage you to go to igotaguypodcast.com. That's igotaguypodcast.com. And you'll see a list of all of our episodes, a brief synopsis of each episode, and then a link to either listen to the episode or you could download it and watch it on Rumble or YouTube. So you can watch the episode or listen to whichever fits your style best. And if you would like to be a guest on an upcoming episode, I encourage you to fill out the contact us pop-up that comes up on the website, and we'll get in contact with you and we'll get you on the schedule and highlight your business just the way we highlight all other guests' businesses and see if we can help your business grow as well. I'm really passionate about this podcast because I love small businesses. I love to help small business. I network a lot, and I really firmly believe that small businesses really is the foundation to our economy and a foundation to our country. And the more we can do to help small businesses grow, the better off we all are. We employ lots of great people and serve a lot of really important needs. So it's just really important segment that I think doesn't get as much attention as it should. So we try to do that here through I Got a Guy podcast. I did the book, The Go-Giver, really is the start of this podcast, where I got the inspiration to start this podcast. If you haven't read it, it's a great book, all about networking and how networking is about giving referrals. So many people go to networking meetings thinking they're going to get referrals. The reality is, a successful networker, it goes to a networking meeting to give referrals, and in return, they do get referrals and they grow their business. But it's really an important distinction. This book highlights that very, very well. In fact, there's 5 laws of stratospheric success outlined in the book. And this week, the law I want to focus on is the law of value. And it's defined by give more in value than you receive in payment. Give more in value than you receive in payment. And our guest this week really matches up with that law very closely. So I think you're going to really enjoy the value that he brings to small businesses, and you'll enjoy getting to know him as well. So let's get started with this episode, and I'll introduce our guest. This week we have Tom Gosche from GLM Financial. I've known Tom for many years now, and prior business actually that Tom was part of, but I've known Tom for a long time, and we run into each other regularly at different networking events. So I'm happy to have him here as a guest for the first time. So Tom, thanks for joining us this week.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. This gonna be good. I love the name of the thing. I got a guy over there. I got a guy. Hey, I got a guy.
That's right. That's right. It's unfortunately it's a trademark name, so now I got some protection there too. So
There you go.
it's
Good.
good advice. So I got some good legal advice behind me. So we did trademark. I got a guy. So Tom, but thanks for joining us, and let's start up by sharing a little bit of information about GLM. Tell us about GLM. There's a lot of accounting firms out in the market. GLM is different. Tell us a little bit about GLM and your role within GLM and how you guys serve your clients and what makes you guys special and unique.
Yeah, for sure. So GLM, we are an accounting firm. It's not a CPA firm. We do have a couple of CPAs on staff, but we're just doing what I would call glorified bookkeeping. It's more than just putting the numbers in the right spot. It's explaining to the business owner why they're there, how it benefits them, and how it also, benefits their tax situation. So we're looking for super small businesses. I'm talking about one-person operations with 0 to 30 employees, 0 to 10 million in revenue. I'm looking for the business owner that's doing their own accounting because they think they're saving some money by doing it themselves. And in actuality, they're probably spending too much time on it. They're probably not doing it as correctly as they should. I don't know if that's the word, but correctly as they should, and they're not really getting some good feedback about their business based on their finances from a good, solid accountant that can help them with their business. So we can do as much or as little as the business owner would like. If you just want us to do your reconciliation and then do a review, we can do it. You want us to become, your accounting department and do it all, that's what we can do. So we can work in that area. I think we're a little bit different is that we like working with small businesses, the 1-2 person operation. We can handle the bandwidth of that. Our costs are good for those types of businesses as well. Many of the larger accounting firms, they generally don't want the small business. They don't want to do 1 or 2 hours a month of work. We're able to do that because we've got accountants on staff where it gets to the end of the day. They've got, an hour or so to work. They kind of look at our smaller clients and go, okay, I'll review their information today, and we'll kind of go from there. So, lots of different industry types, lots of different businesses. We can work with pretty much anybody that owns a business and wants to keep track of their revenues and expenses.
Well, that's tremendous, and I applaud you for focusing on those small businesses, and precisely tracking actually does the same thing. And as I got started with my GPS tracking company, I've had a lot of people that would say to me, "Oh, why don't you go after the FedEx? Yeah, I think they have lots of trucks. How about UPS?" I don't want to deal with that, and not that there's anything wrong with those bigger companies, but I like the small businesses, and the small businesses are generally ignored by so many companies because they are small, and there may not be a lot of revenue there, but these companies are growing, and so you start with them when they're 1 or 2 employees, and then all of a sudden they're 5 or 10 employees, or they're 20 employees, or they're 40 employees, and you're with them the whole way through, and that grows your business, but it helps them, and that's why I find with my GPS tracking. Got a lot of clients that start out with 1 or 2 trucks, and before you know it, they got 40 trucks.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
we're there. There's loyalty there, and their business. And change is hard for a lot of companies, a lot of people, but a lot of companies, making a change, and especially a change at a level like accounting,
Right.
where there's so many intricacies. There's bank accounts, there's records, there's tax IDs, there's a lot of private information. Once you get that all figured, nobody wants to change that. That's hard to do. So starting out small, you just keep growing, and I think that's really a smart business move.
Yeah, you know what I did? I found out I've been here since 2016, January 2016. I hadn't really sold accounting before, and what I was finding was nobody wants to leave their accountant. Their accountant might not return their phone calls in a timely manner. They might ignore letters from the IRS because it's getting handled, have no fear. Their accountant, might not be exactly perfect for their business because they have the same guy that's doing their business accounting that did their taxes before they started their business, but they won't leave them because, oh, I've had him for 10 years, I've had him for 20 years. So I found it was easier to talk with a business owner to become their first and only accountant so that we can grow with them.
Right.
So when I came up with my 0 to 30 employees, 0 to 10 million in revenue, the owner of GLM says, well, we work with many businesses that are bigger than that. I said, yes, but when did you start working with them? And he had to think back, and yeah, you know what? They were less than 30 employees. They were less than 10 million in revenue, and we grew with them. As a matter of fact, one of our largest clients started out with 1 store, and he recently retired, having sold all 40 of his businesses, to the managers and that was just over 25, 30 years,
Sure.
so they definitely grow with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And like you said, it's not something that people like to make that change. So you get in when they're young and they're small. Now you've got that loyal base, and you just keep growing. It's a successful business model for GLM to do. Well, I got to tell you, as a small business owner myself, I know the rigors of going through the accounting in QuickBooks. I mean, QuickBooks it's not difficult, but when you don't have an accounting mindset,
Mhm.
I'm a sales guy. I know my business, I know my trackers, I know what I'm doing, but I don't understand all that. I had obviously accounting courses in college, but for me, that was a long time ago.
Right.
Laws have changed, processes have changed, and I know going through it myself, I would have a bookkeeper clean up every quarter all the mistakes that I made throughout the quarter. And it's like, well, but I'm spending all this time making these mistakes. It's penny wise and pound foolish.
Yeah. One of the things that we found is that if somebody's been doing their own accounting, that we could usually do it in a third of the time that they normally do it in, and it is more accurate. So you might have seen me at networking events. I usually say, if you hear a business owner say something like, tonight, I'm going to pour myself a cocktail and do my accounting, that's a good referral for me. Well, I've gotten telephone calls from people that say, well, I don't know if it was a cocktail, but I was late at night, or I was watching the Bears game, or I was doing this while doing my accounting. But I do it probably 10, 15 hours per month. And I just can't afford, 10 or 15 hours of accounting being done. I said, let's take a look at it. And truly, it went down to about 3 to 4 hours a month for this particular client. It's more accurate. We're helping him grow his business because we see some things in his receivables that he never saw because he was too close to it. And we've gotten him more money in his pocket in the year and a half that we've been working with him. That's really ended up paying for his accounting work and more.
Right.
So it really does help to at least have a conversation. If it's not with me, if it's not with GLM, but just make sure that you've got somebody doing your accounting.
Well, and the thing to keep in mind, and something that I've realized myself is, you spend 10 to 15 hours a month, maybe as a business owner, grinding through that accounting stuff. And if you offload that and it takes somebody 3 or 4 hours a month to do it, well, that's much more efficient. But then you have those 10 or 15 hours a month to do more important revenue generating activities. Maybe things that you're better at. Maybe it allows you to attract one new client or two new clients a month. And what does that pay you versus what you're saving, quote unquote, by doing your own accounting?
Exactly.
It's
You can go to a
it's
networking event or two,
exactly it's
wherever
really
it happens to be.
significant. On top of the fact that because you guys are such specialists, you can probably identify um, whether it be an error or an issue, that making a few corrections could change the trajectory of the business and the profitability of the business. Maybe there's an expense that's out of control you don't realize.
Right.
Maybe there's something that's not quite making sense. And with an outsider's view of it, with your expertise, you might have the discussion, say, gee, you're spending so much, of your expenses in this one area. Maybe there's a better way to do that. Or I have a referral for somebody that could help you. So I can see all those benefits to small businesses. It's hard for a small business though when you're especially when you're really young, to want to write that check every month to an accounting firm. You're like, oh, I just can't do it. I gotta absorb that. And you're working 15 to 18 hours a day. It's just it's a tough balance, but once you get over the hump, I think it makes sense.
I think it does. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, we've had situations where they just threw in expenses in a line item and it didn't really make sense. So we cleaned that up. Or we've had situations on accounts receivable where the email that they had in QuickBooks was wrong to the person they were billing, and so they were months and months behind. So a quick telephone call got them, almost $150,000 in their pocket, just because they weren't getting their bills. And just being able to take a look at those things, outside eyes, really help a business owner a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the things that sometimes happens networking too, Mike, is um, really, I'm just business development. I am not an accountant. I mean, in the 8 years I've been doing this, yes, I've picked up some things, but I'm not going to be working on anybody's books. I'm not going to be doing anybody's taxes, which you're welcome because you don't want me to do that kind of stuff.
That's good.
Um, What I do is I do all the networking, the sales, the marketing for the firm. And what I do is have a conversation, general conversation with a prospect before they talk with the accountant, just to kind of see if it's the right fit. And then I bring the accountant in. And if it's a networking person that I am working with and they don't want me to know their finances or what's going on, their tax issues or anything like that, I'm out. No problem. I make the introduction. This is the accountant. You talk with him. My only discussion with the accountant is with your permission. If you were doing a business valuation, I can kind of help with that. I've got some background in that. If you just want some ideas on marketing and we're looking at some budgeting and things like that, otherwise, all I do is with the accountant, I'll say, hey, how's Mike? How's his business going? Oh, it's great. You were keeping up with everything? Yeah. I don't get into the details. So I just
Good.
kind of want to put that out there because in the beginning of the networking, I've had some people, well, I don't want you to know what's going on in my business. And have no fear. I don't need to know.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you stay in your lane,
Yeah.
do what you do best, and then it's just, keep on going.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, well, that's awesome. I really I'm excited for you, and you've been networking a lot. You network all the time, and you do a great job at that. You are definitely a professional networker.
I do tell people it is my job. Like it's my only job. Like I don't actually, like I said, I don't go out and get clients and then have to go back and do their accounting. I gotta, get clients and then I go back out and get clients, so I just keep doing that. So yeah, I do a lot of networking. I truly believe in that book. I grew up
Yeah, the
in
Go Giver. Yeah,
business, running BNI, Business Network International.
yeah, that's where you and I
Um,
first met, actually.
yep, for sure. I was honored to meet Bob Berg a few times over the years. As a matter of fact, I am in a New York Times best-selling book called Masters of Sales, and my chapter is a sandwich between Martha Stewart, I think before she went to jail, and Bob Berg and Endless Referrals. So we had Bob Berg come to town to do a promotion. I think it was 2007 or something like that for this book. And he said, Tom, this is great. I'm glad you're part of BNI. You're part of the networking. Wait till you see my next book. You are not going to believe how awesome this next book is. He's like, if you read Who Moved My Cheese, you're going to love this Go Giver book. And probably about 6 months later, the Go Giver book came out, and he was right. Just an amazing parable on giving and giving referrals. And
The
it's a
value of giving referrals.
philosophy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a philosophy I've lived with, my whole business career. Stealing it from BNI, givers gain. The more you give, the more you get back in return. And it might not be specifically to that person you're giving to, but it comes back to you and it comes back to you tenfold. So,
yeah, yeah. I also totally agree. I've read the book several times. I have it on Audible, and it's if I fly down to Florida, it's 2 hour, little over 2 hour flight. I can go through the whole book on Audible on each direction. So it's a great reminder, and it's really it's good. It's good mental philosophy on giving value, and I do that. I work with my clients as well. A lot of my clients, I work very diligently to give them referrals, because if I can help my clients grow their business, then they add more trucks, and then they buy more tracking, and we help that grow. So it benefits both sides of the equation, but I really focus on helping my clients and my referral partners grow their business. So that's really, like I said before, that's how this whole podcast came about, because I wanted to do my part and be part of the solution. But Tom, we're gonna take a quick break here, and then come back. And I want to get into a couple more specifics with you, a couple more scenarios that you've been able to help clients, so that our listeners can really kind of get their arms around how you might be able to help their business. But before we take our break, why don't you share your contact information? What's the best way for someone to reach out to you if they want to inquire about how GLM might help their business?
sure. I'm always ready for an email. tomg@goglm.com. It's also our website, GoGLM. And there's that old-fashioned thing, I think it's called a phone, 630-675-8971. So those are three great ways to get in touch with me. No problem.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, that we get the rotary dial, right? Click, 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 click,
Yeah,
click.
yeah.
I will get this information on the screen for our viewers and in the notes, and of course our listeners will hear this. And when you do call Tom, make sure you tell him that you heard about him here on I Got a Guy podcast. But let's take a quick break. We'll come back and get some more detailed stories from Tom Gosche from GLM Financial. So be right back. Thank you for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. I hope you're getting a lot of knowledge from this week's guest. But now a word from our sponsor. If your business uses heavy equipment as part of its daily routine, sadly, I don't need to educate you on the reality that this equipment has been the focus of many local thieves either. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions works with business owners that own commercial vehicles and heavy equipment. We help these business owners enhance their growth and profit through the use of GPS tracking technology. Recovering a stolen asset is just one way we contribute to the bottom line of the business. Our GPS tracking units used in heavy equipment are weather tight so they can handle the elements and even have an internal battery to continue to report its location should the battery in the asset be disconnected. We have several examples of the benefits of GPS tracking in heavy equipment. Reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions for a detailed discussion about our options and to see if it makes sense for your business. You can find Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions at precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com. Or call us at 847-865-6008. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. GPS tracking made simple. Now, back to the show. Okay, we are back. I am Michael Drelichars, host of I Got a Guy podcast. Thank you so much for being with us. This week, I'm honored to have Tom Gosche with us as our guest, talking about bookkeeping and accounting for small businesses. Tom is business development for GLM Financial. He's been doing this for quite a while and been very successful at helping small businesses as small as 1 or 2 employees get their financials under control, take that burden off the owner's plate so the owner can do what they do best, which is generally selling their products or serving their clients, or supporting their employees, etc. But taking that accounting burden off their plate and helping their business be more successful. So, Tom, thanks for joining us this week. We appreciate your involvement.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is so far great, fun.
Yeah, it's we have a lot of fun with it, and I really enjoy doing the podcast and getting to know awesome referral partners and helping them grow. So we were talking before the break about GLM and the services that you offer, the accounting service, the bookkeeping services. One question I didn't ask you, obviously QuickBooks is the most common platform that most businesses use, but there are other ones as well. What platforms do you support within your firm?
Sure. QuickBooks is the main one. We can do QuickBooks Online. We can provide a discount to our clients for their monthly subscription. So QuickBooks is probably the most popular. It's also, it's been around the longest. We have clients that are using Xero, which is Xero. It starts out as being a free platform, very similar to QuickBooks, and then they've got some subscription models too. And we've got some clients on that and accountants that can work in it. Just about any accounting software that's out there, our accountants can figure out. So even if it's, some of the Sage products, Microsoft has got some stuff, we can help with that. We've also been able to, for smaller entrepreneurial clients who just use Excel to keep track of their revenues and expenses, because they don't have much. They get maybe 1 or 2 checks a month. They go to a couple of meetings, and they've got a separate bank account for some of their things. We could take their information and we can give them profit and loss statements as well, to help them guide which way they should be going. So everything from high to low, we can definitely help in that respect.
Okay, and that actually brings up another question. What type of businesses do you support? Sales companies, importers, exporters, consulting firms? I mean, do you have any
Yeah, keep it
limitation?
going. Anybody that's buying or selling a product or service. In the business to business space, we've got some manufacturing. That's why I'm a member of the GOA. A lot of businesses in Elk Grove and those nondescript buildings that make something key critical to somebody out there. We can help them. And because of the trucking situation, we've got a lot of truckers and fleets maybe not so much fleets, but a truck or two with some guys, as well as on the professional services side, consultants and attorneys, financial advisors, they need to keep track of these things. And then what I call light medical, which is chiropractors, massage therapists, beauty salons. Of course, I don't call them light medical to their face. They get a little angry with that, but it's
Yeah,
we tend to stay away from doctors and MDs because they've got some more issues and insurance things that are a little beyond our scope. So it's more the other medical. And then we actually were founded in the 90s as a gas station accounting firm.
really?
Most of our, yeah, 60% of our clients are gas stations, oil changes, auto supplies, auto repair. Um, and so we get many referrals internally there, for those types of businesses. But that leads us into any type of retail environment. We can work with those business owners as well.
Great. A lot of people this day and age are, doing little side hustles. They hope someday maybe a full-time gig. Do you help those kind of small, I mean, that small of a business?
We do. It's actually, if it's okay, I'm going to get into a story.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
did
this is
have
perfect time.
We had somebody that was doing something on the side and started their own business last year. They went to a local, you know how around tax season they've got a guy out there with the arrow pointing to this tax preparer
Sure,
that
sure.
yeah, sets up shop for 3 months.
Right.
So they actually went to that type of company saying, we're starting a business. We've got startup costs, we've got some, expenses, and it can be complex. So those guys just say, hey, don't worry, we'll just throw it all in as expenses. And since there's not enough there, we'll just give you the regular, one piece write-off. And so now they're a mess. They've got credit cards that have business and personal, and we've got to comb through all of that and get it right. They're too small to be on QuickBooks yet, and they're not generating that much information or I'm sorry, revenues yet to get into QuickBooks. But what we're doing is we're trying to get them at least into an Excel file to separate things.
Sure,
And then because they're still a sole proprietor, we've asked them to go find another credit card that they use just for business. Now it's
sure.
in their name, but they use it just for business. And then a bank account that they have just for business, for their revenues, and keep everything separate church and state, and kind of go from there. And well, about 4 or 5 hours of some back work, and we kind of figured things out. Then we went and we amended their tax returns, and we ended up getting them a refund that they didn't have before. So it's
Nice.
really important that when you're starting a business or even just starting a side gig, that you talk to a professional. And I'm as closest to a professional as possible, and I can get some information and even not even charge you for it, just talk with you for a little bit. And then if it gets a little bit more complex, then I can bring in an accountant to do that. But it's really important to separate your business and your personal if you're doing any type of side gigs. And you don't have to incorporate until it's time to incorporate. Just keep things separate so that you can show a bank statement to your accountant and say, these are all my business expenses.
Right. Yeah. Keep it organized, not just dump it in a shoebox and let somebody else figure it out. It's and I totally subscribe to that philosophy. And I get a little OCD sometimes about, keeping the separation, even when my business was just starting out and was small and I had, zero trackers on the field. Keeping it, very, very regimented. some people thought that was a little overkill, but I really believe that, if you start out messy, the mess just grows exponentially. And at some point, it's really difficult to dissect that. So better off getting it clean to start and keeping that philosophical approach to separate, like you said, church and state.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you are successful and you do grow it nicely and you can make a living off of it, now you have something there to put your arms around.
Yeah, for sure. It's important. It really is important.
So do you see this for like Uber drivers and that sort of thing? Those type of
Yeah,
small
yeah. Uber
businesses?
drivers. Uber is actually, my understanding is that they've made things a little bit easier in their back office to keep track of miles and things like that. But yeah, that should be, separate. If you're doing any type of promotion, that should be separate. Um, Many times, they're able to just do their own tax returns because it's already kind of laid out for you. But if they do want some advice and they're taking it to that next level, then talk with us about it. This is more like consulting, kind of doing something similar to your regular gig on the side. Hoping that someday it could be a business that you will do full time.
Right.
We'd rather work with those folks because there's more growth opportunity
Yeah,
than
for
just
sure.
your Uber drivers. But we've got them, and we do their tax returns every year, and that's no problem.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, there's lots of opportunity out there, and right now, given the economy, a lot of people, a lot of individuals and small families, need to make a second income
Mhm.
just to make ends meet. And if you're passionate about whatever that is, if you're selling something or delivering some services in some way, and you're good at it, it could grow into something much more substantial, and that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's important to have those your ducks in a row up front and not scramble. And then I know in the case of this Uber driver that I know, um, uh, she was trying to go out and get a mortgage for a house. And if you're an Uber driver and a Lyft driver, and there's two different systems, and when you start to report this information to a mortgage company, they want to know the details. It's not okay scribbles on a napkin. It's
Right.
so having those details gathered up front as you grow, and and then at some point you need it for a bank or a mortgage company, it's helpful to have, and be legitimate, and move on with your life and grow.
It makes it a lot easier because uh, the IRS is, they just do audits, just red flag audits, and you never know when it'll be. I mean, right now, being shorthanded, they're going after bigger fish, but you don't want to have to, your name was drawn today, and then you got to come up with all this stuff. Make sure that you're keeping track of it as much as possible.
Yeah, and honestly, I also believe that when you do it right up front, get it all documented, you can sleep better at night.
Oh yeah,
What whether and hopefully you hope you never get audited, but you know, fearing an audit provides a lot of sleepless nights, and there's
yeah,
that's that not a quality restful sleep that way. So we got to do it the right way. I'm a firm believer in that, and I know you support that philosophy as well.
for sure, for sure.
Well, cool. So what other stories you want to share with us so our listeners can get an idea how you might help their business? Do you have a couple interesting, unique scenarios you can share with us?
Yeah, we've had probably my favorite was last summer. We did have a business owner come to us. She had been working in this business for 2 years. She has an accounting degree, and she is a very smart accountant. But being the business owner had taken its toll. It's a pretty high stress level when you're dealing with employees, some inventory, and things like that. Um, so she came to us through a referral, and we were able to, get her QuickBooks, much easier to read for her. She was just kind of entering it in really quick to get it done. We just took all of her great information and categorized it better, gave her a better understanding of what was going on with her business, and it gave the accountant they spend way too much time talking to each other in their counseling session every month because they're both accountants. And so they get into that accountant wormhole that they enjoy. And then I just kind of start looking at my phone going, all right, what else is going on here? Let them enjoy what they're doing. So having an accountant become a client of ours, that was a big coup.
Well, certainly that's a testament to the skills that you guys offer. If an accountant is, they're detailed people just by
Right.
nature. If they're an accountant, they sweat those little details, and so that's awesome.
We had a remodeler come to us. Yeah, I mentioned keeping track of things in Excel. It's a great program for when you're getting started. But then as you grow, so do those programs, and then they start to get corrupted. And then all of a sudden you're copying this program and file, making it into this file, and then it doesn't calculate all the way. So we ended up, taking all of her information, putting it into QuickBooks, using the Excel files, making some adjustments. And then we actually gave her some training on how to use QuickBooks so that she can use it for then scheduling as well as quoting. So we were putting in, some of her jobs and really, you're paying almost $60 a month is QuickBooks nowadays.
Hmm.
And if you're only using it to do a reconciliation, you're not using it to its full ability. So utilize as much of it as you can for your business. And so there she is working on her phone, getting quotes done, for her remodeling business, making it into a project, then turning it into an invoice, and then, getting paid on it made it a lot easier than the other steps that she was doing beforehand. So she really enjoyed working with our accountant in getting all that stuff set up.
Yeah, really streamlines the process completely.
Yep. And then the last one, just want to let everybody know we do have a Spanish speaking accountant that handles any business owners that have that language barrier.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's easier to talk tech with, somebody in your own language, talk accounting with somebody in your own language,
Sure.
so that you're getting the best advice possible. So if we do have any business owners that speak Spanish, we've got Joe in our office that can help them out. And he's a smart accountant. He's got a nice personality, which is hard to say for accountants, I got to tell you. But most of the business owners, all the business owners, I should say, get along with Joe and really appreciate that he speaks Spanish so that they can communicate about their business.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. So I work with a lot of trades in my field, obviously, a lot of landscapers, plumbers, HVAC, roofing companies. Do you do a lot in with the trades as well?
Yeah, we do. Usually they're doing a lot of stuff out on the road.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Danny DeVito was doing QuickBooks commercials, and he was even talking about a plumber, and he was basically, showing his phone, hey, you can do all your business on your phone. So that got a lot of people to jump on QuickBooks, but it takes a lot of work to get it to that point.
sure.
So, that's what we could do is if they're trying to do something either on their phone or through a system that they're not sure of, we can provide that training so that they can, not just general QuickBooks training, but training for their business and QuickBooks for their business to make things run much more smoothly. And that's kind of the hidden aspect of it, because then at the end of the month, we can have a conversation about their business on where they can, save money, where they can, work on better projects,
Yeah,
things like that.
that's great. Well, and now, we're approaching the end of the year now, and so I know in my own business, I at this time I was looking at, where my expenses were this year and how can I fine tune that and tweak some stuff and, improve my bottom line a little bit. Do you offer that kind of support to your clients as well?
Yeah, for sure. So the end of the year gets really busy for us.
Sure, of
Pretty much
course.
right after um, a tax extension deadline in October. October. Oh, we are in October. October 15th. Yeah, we get busy again with the end of the year stuff, kind of reviewing where they're at, what the business owners are trying to do, make sure we try to save them on any types of taxes. It's also a good time to look at if you're doing any profit sharing with your employees, how that's going to look. And any of the benefits that are coming up for renewal. So we can help make sure that if you're paying for some of that stuff, that you're able to afford it, that you're able to get the write-offs that you need in order to have a good tax season come April, well, March and April, corporate and then individual.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I guess it makes sense to have that review before the year ends. So if you need to make any changes, that you don't want to do that in March when it's too late.
Exactly.
So, okay, cool. And so you generally meet with your clients every month, or your accountants meet with their clients every month to review what happened last month and then what's going on in the next month?
Correct. Some of the smaller clients, it's quarterly,
Mhm.
but usually it's monthly. And so yeah, we meet with them. So they're pretty okay along the way. But if anybody's, not doing that with their accountant and they feel like they should, first of all, I tell people if you like your accountant, go to them and say, this is what I'd like to have happen with my business. It might cost you an extra hour of their time or whatever it happens to be, but it's definitely worth it. Then if they say, no, we just want to give you your financials and be done with you, we don't need all that stuff, then you can come to me. But it's really valuable to get the person that's been doing your books for so many years.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for nowadays, go ahead and ask them. They might want you to do it, but they just don't know how to ask. I think we all know accountants that are afraid to make that bold statement.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know a lot of bookkeepers and accountants are super swamped right now too.
Yeah.
There's a shrinking of your industry. Not a lot of new accountants coming out of college. It's not a sexy position anymore. So
I'm not
I
sure which world it was a sexy position, but no.
well, but there was a time when people would go to school because they wanted to be an accountant, and now
Right.
it's not really the case. They want to do other things. They want to do graphic design. They want to do social media. They want to do that kind of stuff. But I know I've talked to a lot of accountants that are saying, accountants that are in their 70s, they want to retire, and they're trying to find somebody to take their book of business, and there just aren't a lot of young accounting firms coming up from through the process. So, but it's definitely necessary. It's really a needed process. And as easy as QuickBooks is, you still have to have some knowledge. Otherwise, it's garbage in and garbage out.
Exactly, for sure.
So, anyway, I think what you guys are doing is awesome, and congratulations on continued success.
Thank you.
And I'm thrilled that you are able to stay as focused as you are in your business development role.
Yeah, it's fun. The accountants don't like to do what I do, and I don't like to do the accounting. So it works out well. I got a
Perfect
job,
match.
they got a job, and it works great.
And if you're able to feed them new clients with some consistency, I mean that
Yeah,
just helps the whole system work.
yeah. Puts them on their best behavior,
Yeah,
when you bring in a new client. So it works out good.
that's great. That's awesome. Well, that's cool. So let's get your contact information, email, phone number again for our listeners.
Sure. Email tomg@goglm.com. It's also our website, goglm.com, all one word. And then, my number is 630-675-8971. We are
Okay.
located in Schaumburg. You can have meetings with us in Schaumburg. Sometimes we'll come to your place. And there's this amazing thing called Zoom that has gotten popular for some reason over the last 4 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, that's great. Well, glad you're easily reachable for clients that might be a little further away than Schaumburg or Elk Grove Village.
Yep.
So certainly have the conversation that way. And I would love for our listeners to reach out to you and just initiate the conversation and see where it goes. And no guarantees, but the best place to start is at the first step and have a conversation going.
Definitely. They're free.
Beautiful thing. My favorite F word. That's great. Well, we're going to wrap the show up here in just a minute, but I want to throw a quick little plug in for Precise Fleet Tracking. That's my day job, and that's how we make things work here. But I work with a lot of small businesses, helping these business owners enhance their growth and profit through using our GPS tracking technology. Lately, there's been a lot of issues with stolen assets, stolen vehicles, stolen mowers and trailers and trenchers and things like that. We have been doing a lot of work with companies, with municipalities, with park districts, and large firms to protect their assets. And if something were to get stolen, we have the ability to help identify where it's at so that police can recover it. And we've had a few really amazing scenarios where we've been able to recover tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that would have otherwise had to have been processed through an insurance claim and pay a higher insurance premium and all the hassles that go along with that, and then going out and buying more equipment. So if you are a business owner and you've had any issues with anything stolen, or you're concerned about theft, we've had businesses where they'll have a trailer, they'll have a sod cutter on a trailer behind a truck parked in a neighborhood overnight, and the next morning that trailer's gone. Somebody unhooked the trailer, hooked on their truck, and they drove away. It's sad, but it happens. So if you are a business owner, and you're concerned about that or have had that experience, I would love to have a conversation with you and just tell you how we work and how we might be able to help you. So you can reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. Our website is precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com, or call us at 847-865-6008. 847-865-6008. No obligation conversation. Let's just have a discussion and we'll see if it's a fit for you. So I encourage you to reach out to us. And in the meantime, we thank you all for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. Encourage you to share this podcast on your social media platforms. Love to get Tom's message out to as many people as possible and spread the word, spread the love, and get it out there so everyone can know it's out in the market. And then I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back again next week. So to all of our listeners, thank you so much. Tom, thank you for being with us, and we look forward to talking with you very soon. Take care.
Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast, a podcast carefully designed to introduce a wide range of very talented and highly skilled professionals ready to share their knowledge and advice with you. Please welcome the host of I Got a Guy podcast, Michael Drelichars.